Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this episode of All Things Lean with your host Madhulika Rajahan. In our last episode, we talked about the silent role of fear in decision making. In this episode, we will talk about the same a little further. Silent role of fear. Fear plays such a dominant role in our lives that several businesses and products have succeeded on the back of this single emotion. Here's a look at some of the fears that affect our decision making, how businesses and products exploit these tendencies to their advantage, and how, as a designer, you can apply this knowledge in your work to design better and possibly more ethical products. In our last episode, we talked about negative bias, loss aversion, endowment effect, and fear of better options. In this episode, we will cover other aspects of fear. Horror vacui. The concept of horror vacui, or the fear of emptiness, was coined in the Victorian era, around 1837 to 1901. At the time, white space in art and design was looked down upon, and artists feared leaving any space empty. From complex paintings and ornamental motifs to intricate sculptures and patterns on buildings, creatives in the past seem to have a compulsion for filling up every inch of their work surface, as if it might imply laziness to leave anything untouched. Modern design, however, values minimalism. In user experience design, less is often more. A busy interface with multiple choices will confuse users. The Google search engine has only one form field, font and center. While there are other links on the screen and a bottom to sign in, the generous use of white space calls the user's attention to the primary functionality, which is search. The fear of emptiness takes on another meaning for interfaces, empty states. If your products requires user to create and manipulate content, for example, text and image editing applications, then the initial screens will likely to have no data available. Empty states can be intimidating, especially for a user trying out your solution for the first time. Where does the user begin? How does the application fit into the user's current workflow? This is where carefully crafted messages can guide first-time users around the application and offer prompts to help them get started with the product. The Yahoo Mail application takes empty states up one level with messages that users can relate to. The application recognizes that users like to see a clean inbox and in emails dealt with and archived. Instead of showing a generic message like there are no emails, the application celebrates an empty inbox as an achievement. What do our users fear? Fear is a huge factor in our decision making. The fears we have listed here are only a few broad ones. There are other strong emotions that prompt users to make decisions. For example, dating apps capitalize on loneliness, while ride-sharing apps prey on our desire to be independent and mobile. Keep these emotions in mind when you conduct interviews or draft questions for use in surveys. Try to understand if certain fears dominate your user's behavior in the context of your solution. If they exist, use techniques such as 5 whys to probe further and identify the extent of the fears. If your value proposition does not address a fear, that is also perfectly all right. You can use your knowledge of fears in the design of the features, interfaces, microcopy, marketing campaigns, and pricing policies. For example, Stick is a commitment platform that uses loss aversion to help users stick to their commitments. Users sign monetary contracts and put their money on the line to motivate them to work towards their goals. With Money Online, which is a US-based commitment platform, Stick uses loss aversion to motivate users to work towards goals such as weight loss, quitting smoking, and other goals that can be difficult for people to commit to. How ethical is it to take advantage of fears? Business, design, and ethics do not always go hand in hand. Over the years, design patterns that exploit our instinctive behavior have come to be called dark patterns. Based on user engagement and product usage, social media networks can be considered examples of great business and design. The platforms leverage loss aversion to keep users coming back. Every notification on any of the applications make us wonder, what's new? What am I missing out on? This popularity of social media has, however, led to increased incidences of social anxiety, with users constantly under pressure to present the best and the happiest versions of their lives. Combined with our negativity bias, the platforms often resemble an endless stream of bad news with pictures of other people's perfect lives thrown in between. We live in a hyper-connected world, and it's easier than ever to spread information as well as misinformation. The ethical aspect of the use or abuse of the knowledge of human behavior can lead us down a bottomless pit. As designers, it is our duty to learn and be aware of the power of design and wield it wisely. It is easy to get blindsided and limit our vision to our products and users. However, we live in a hyper-connected world and we cannot look at our designs in isolation. In your work, consider the big picture. How does your product fit into the user's life? What could be the potential impact on society and on the environment? Abuse of human psychology has its limits. Massive public outcry over privacy issues as well as concerns about smartphone addiction has prompted governments as well as companies to place safeguards. In 2018, the European Commission implemented the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, that mandated that digital applications be transparent about what data they collect and how they use the data and seek permission from users before they collect it. Apple provides iPhone users with a weekly summary of the number of hours they spend on their phones and provides options to set scheduled work hours and sleep times to help users reduce distractions and relax easily. While Instagram shows the "you are all caught up" message, YouTube offers users the option to turn on the "remind me to take a break" feature to limit the time spent on the application. The adage, "you cannot fool all the people all the time," rings true for businesses that exploit human psychology for their gain. Due to public concern over smartphone addiction, companies such as Apple, Facebook, and Google have introduced features in their products to limit users' screen time. On the left, we can see Apple's iPhone simplifies the lock screen to remove notifications. In the center, we can see Facebook's Instagram notifies users that they have seen posts from the past 3 days and subtly re-shows users that they aren't missing out on anything. On the right, we have Google's YouTube pauses videos midway to remind users that they have reached their daily quota of app use. Fear needs not always be used to exploit users. As we have seen with Stick, products can leverage behavioral patterns for effective positive change. What's the takeaway? Fear plays a large part in our decisions. You can use the knowledge of users' fear to create designs that motivate users to adopt or purchase your product. Our instinctive negativity bias makes it important that we find and eliminate usability flaws in our designs. Users are more likely to remember a tiny usability flaw than even the fabulous features you worked hard to design. While loss aversion motivates users to make decisions so that they don't miss out, the fear of better options paralyzes their decision-making capabilities in the face of several good options. The endowment effect makes us value our possessions more than they are objectively worth, paving the way for designers to get users emotionally attached to products. Horror vacui relates to our fear of emptiness. While minimalism is good in interface design, poor or undesigned, empty states can intimidate new users. Used appropriately, fear is our friend that helps you create engaging products. But reckless human abuse of behavioral tendencies can also be catastrophic. Design and designers wield immense powers through their work and must tread responsibly. When used ethically, targeting our fears can even help us make the world a better place. With this, we come to an end to this episode of All Things Lean. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the comment section on what you'd like to hear more. Until next time, this is your host, Madhurika Rajahan, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead.